Hey guys, what's going on? It's ya boy Bowser Jr. Fan 13, and in this video, we're going to be talking about voice acting. Voice acting, like, in terms of video games and anime, is, like, the best to hear. And when it comes to video games, I love soundtracks, I love the graphics, the gameplay and stuff, but the best part of it all, of course, is the voice acting, because when you have characters playing certain characters, it feels like you're watching a movie or watching your favorite anime, and it's so magical. And Final Fantasy is no stranger to voice acting. Final Fantasy X, being the first game in the series to ever receive voice acting, was praised for all of its glory and everything it had to offer. And although everyone talks about Final Fantasy X, 12, 13, 15, 7 Remake, and the 7 compilation, as well as the spin-off games voice acting, nobody ever talks about the voice acting in Final Fantasy IV, which is a shame because I love the voice acting in Final Fantasy IV. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, wait, but Final Fantasy IV doesn't have voice acting. I mean, like, of course, like, isn't it on the Super Nintendo? Well, you're thinking about the 2D versions of the game. I'm talking about the 3D versions of the game. So those of you who don't know, Final Fantasy IV got a 3D remake on the Nintendo DS, PC, and mobile devices, and I think it is without a doubt my favorite port of the Final Fantasy IV compilation, or anything like that. Yeah, my favorite version of Final Fantasy IV is the 3D remake. I mean, sure, there are some big differences with the two games, but it's still the same game in the end. And what I really loved about this game is how they added voice acting to the cutscenes to make moments more magical and more powerful. It's pretty amazing. And like, there's barely any YouTube videos or anything related to Final Fantasy IV that talks about the voice acting and goes in depth about it. So I figured that since nobody was going to do something like that, maybe I should be the first YouTuber to discuss something like this. So, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, grab some snacks, and enjoy the show as I discuss with you why I love the voice acting in Final Fantasy IV. So why do I love the voice acting in Final Fantasy IV? Well, like I said, I love the voice acting because it's so magical and it makes the original game even better because, let's face it, Final Fantasy IV is without a doubt one of the best games in the series next to 6 and 7, and 4 has a lot of amazing stuff in terms of its story and what it goes through and the character arcs, and adding voice acting to the game makes it even more perfect because, I mean, we all know games back then didn't really have that much voice acting, especially like in RPG terms and stuff, but still, the fact that they actually managed to put voice acting in Final Fantasy IV was such an amazing job. And since it was on the Nintendo DS, it is quite common for most DS games or remakes that are on the DS or something like that to actually have voice acting because, I mean, there are games that do actually do that. But regardless, it's still pretty good in the end. For this video, I'm also going to be going over each of the voice actors in this game and talk about who does the voices, like who plays this character and who plays that character, and how I think of their roles and the way they portray their characters. So let's go ahead with the list, shall we? Now, the first character to obviously start out with is the main protagonist, Cecil Harvey, who in this game is portrayed by none other than Yuri Lowenthal. So, if you watched my top 10 anime videos, well, it's actually Future Damon's top 10 anime and voice acting video, I basically talked about all the video game and anime voice actors that I like, and Yuri Lowenthal just so happens to be one of them. Man, I love Yuri Lowenthal's performances. He plays such iconic roles and wonderful characters. As for how he plays Cecil in Final Fantasy IV, I think he's the perfect voice for the character, like playing into his character, like whether if it's like going to his emotions, his struggle, his rage, his courage and bravery. He does all of this perfectly and hits the nails right and perfect. And this isn't the only time Cecil is voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, as he would also voice the character in the Dissidia Final Fantasy series and World of Final Fantasy.
Stay back. This is a fight for me and me alone. My atonement for all the sins I've wrought, my test. And one I do not mean to fail. Brother, I do not travel with companions to cover my own weakness. Their presence gives me strength. They encourage and support me. I travel with them so that I can aid them as they have aided me.
Plus, this isn't the only Final Fantasy game Yuri Lowenthal was in, as he's also been the voice of Johnny in Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Tifa, my love, my light? Who are you and how do you know her? No, shut up. I don't care. Tifa's here? Why? Tell me why!
Cecil's best friend slash rival, and hands down one of the greatest dragoons in Final Fantasy history, Kain Highwind, is played by Liam O'Brien in this game. Yet another one of my favorite iconic anime and video game voice actors. I love Liam O'Brien's performances, and I think the way he plays Kain is just excellent, especially giving him that sort of medievalish accent. Like, Liam O'Brien has a lot of fancy accents, although you can't really hear it, but the fantasy type of tone within his voice that he gives for Kain and some of his other characters is amazing. And even though, despite the fact I said that I like Liam O'Brien's villain roles more than his hero roles, I mean, I love his hero roles, but the villain roles are what sticks to me the most. And I think the way he plays Kain's villainous roles sometimes is amazing, because you gotta remember, Kain did have some villainous acts like within the game, because it's mostly because he's controlled by Golbez. And despite the fact that either he's playing the hero or villain side of Kain, he does it really well. And just like Yuri Lowenthal, Liam O'Brien has also returned to play Kain in the Dissidia Final Fantasy series.
I owe His Majesty much, but not so much I'd soil the Dragoon's name in his.
Then you're with me.
Baron's army is the mightiest in the world. Our flight means nothing if we remain alone. We must treat with other nations, share what we've seen. And Rosa, she must share our flight. It was an honor to fight alongside you.
And plus, Liam O'Brien has played other characters before, like Red 13 in Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, and Caius Ballad from Final Fantasy 13 too.
There are still children with the stigma.
He is living in a time and place where he knows only joy. He acknowledged his defeat, and now he is at peace.
Next character is the summoner of the game, and the young summoner from child to adult, Rydia. Rydia is played by Caroline Macey in this game. Alright, so as for her role as Caroline Macey, she does pretty good for Rydia. I mean, she plays well with the childish voice and the adult voice, even though they kind of sound the same, but then again, like, this voice is pretty good, not gonna lie. As for how she plays Rydia's characters, pretty fine. Like, as Rydia is very worrisome and caring for others and willing to help others out, and showing off maybe a bit of her sassiness, like when Rydia is like berating Edge for being a bit cocky or something like that. It's kind of funny. And Caroline Macey also plays Rydia in the World of Final Fantasy game, and she does amazing there too.
You were the ones who killed her dragon?
Forgive us. We'd no idea this would happen to your mother.
This battle is ours as much as anyone's. Cecil said so himself. And having some Eidolons along can't hurt, can it? Oh. Well then, I suppose you can't be all that bad. There now. You hear that? These two say they're friends of Lady Yuna. That means you can trust them. for the time being at least.
The great sage Tella and one of Golbez's elemental archfiends, the Fiend of Fire, Rubicante, are both played by Douglas Lee. Alright, and you may have noticed that there's no image of Douglas Lee. That's mostly because I can't really find an image of him, sadly. But still, how he plays these characters, I think he is the perfect Tella voice, because when it comes to his role as Tella, like, he did a pretty good voice for the old man. I mean, it fits really well with his character. I mean, it's not what I was expecting, but you might say it might surpass my expectations. Like, the way he plays Tella, like, well, I mean, Tella is very wise, but he's also a bit blinded by his rage when he's trying to avenge his daughter Anna at the hands of Golbez. And the way he plays his rage and his emotions and how Tella goes through his character arc, like the way the actor plays into the character is amazing. Hands down the best Tella voice actor ever. And I love how he plays them through all of his greatest moments. And yes, to all of you Final Fantasy fans, I do love the Spoony Bard scene as well. That'll never get old for me. And as for his voice with Rubicante, well, it's not much, because Rubicante only had like 2 cutscenes where the actor has voiced him, and he does a decent job with the voice of Rubicante. It's pretty cool.
This Golbez, tell me more of him.
I've heard he came to Baron only recently. It seems he's using the Red Wings to steal crystals.
Tears do not bring back the dead, boy. Anna's death must be avenged. I'll find this Golbez.
Tella, not alone!
She was not your daughter. Her killer will die by my hand. How I yearn for this. When last we met, you taught me a great truth. That many are more powerful than one. I'll restore you to full strength. Now, show us what power you possess.
The musical bard and the Prince of Damcian, Edward, is played by Sam Riegel. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the same voice actor that plays frickin' Phoenix Wright and Teddy. I mean, I could not believe this when I first discovered it. I was like, wow. Alright, but anyways, as for how Sam Riegel plays Edward, he does a really good job with Edward. I think he might be, like, the best Edward voice so far, since, I don't know, there hasn't been anybody else who's voiced Edward as far as I'm concerned, but Sam Riegel's roles are pretty cool, and him playing Edward is amazing, like how he taps into his cowardliness and how he tries to be as brave as he can. He's the perfect portrayal for Edward, and it's amazing.
You need my aid.
I do. Rosa's life depends on it. I beg you.
This woman you speak of, she means a great deal to you, doesn't she? As Anna did to me.
Cecil's girlfriend and the best white mage / healer of the game, Rosa Farrell, and Golbez's elemental archfiend, the Fiend of Wind, Barbaricia, are both portrayed by Karen Strassman. Alright, so I was aware that Barbaricia and Rosa had the same voice actor, but never would I have guessed that they were both voiced by Karen Strassman, one of the greatest anime video game voice actresses of all time. And who would have thought that these two characters would share the same voice as these characters? This blew my mind. So anyways, how she plays into these characters, I think she does really good with Rosa, because we know Rosa is basically not only Cecil's girlfriend, but she cares so much for others, like playing into her scenes, whether she's happy or feeling a bit emotional and worrisome. She does really good as Rosa, not gonna lie. And it's just amazing. And I think she does a decent voice with Barbaricia, despite the fact that this character literally only has 2 scenes where she's voiced by the actress. And come on, seriously? She only has 2 scenes with her voice. Like, you couldn't at least do a voice scene with back at the Tower of Zotz? Yeah, but I'm complaining a bit too much. Still, this is good regardless.
Cecil of the Red Wings is many things, but he is no coward. Not the Cecil who I love.
The giant cannot be stopped to rob you of yours.
The Monk of Falbul, Yang, is played by Dan Warren. Huh, this is the second time that Dan Warren has been in a video of mine. So I guess he shares the same voice as Arthur. That's pretty neat. But anyways, as for Yang, or Yang as you guys want to call him, you know what? Final Fantasy has so many name pronunciations all over the place. You just call him whatever you want. I'm gonna call him Yang, okay? So anyways, Yang's voice actor, Dan Warren, is pretty good. Like, as the character's portrayal, Yang, don't know too much about him, or maybe I wasn't paying much attention, but showing off Yang's bravery and his honor as a monk, and basically being one of the most selfless characters as he sacrifices himself in that one scene. I think he played those scenes perfectly. And Dan Warren is a pretty decent voice as Yang. I mean, I never knew that he voiced Yang, but still, that's pretty impressive.
If you should see my wife again, tell her to live enough for us both.
Don't be a fool. Open the door.
Young! Please, Young! Don't throw your life away!
Young!
It has been an honor fighting with all of you.
Open the door, Young!
The next characters we'll be talking about is the twin mages, Palom and Porom. Palom is played by... Wow, are you serious? Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Palom is played by Megan Taylor Harvey. I'm sorry, I just had to take a moment to think about this because Megan Taylor Harvey is a wonderful actress, as she is the one who also voices Yumi from the Shinran Kagura series. I mean, granted, I don't think that series has any English dubs or anything, but she did play the character in BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, and I loved her performance in that game. But anyways, getting back to Palom, I think she does a pretty okay job as Palom. I mean, there aren't any scenes that play into Palom's personality, as he's a bit cocky and basically trying to show off how cool he is and basically be a bit arrogant and stuff. We don't get much portrayal of that in the animated cutscenes, but as a voice for Palom, she does pretty decent with him. As for his twin sister Porom, she is played by Hunter MacKenzie Austin. Now, I don't know Hunter MacKenzie Austin's roles that much. I mean, I've never really heard of the actress, but I think doing her voice as, like, Porom is pretty good, too. And she doesn't get much, like, portrayal for the character, like, within the cutscenes, but she does pretty good with it. Like, I mean, I think she would have done good with Porom's personality, too, as unlike her brother, she's the more responsible character, and she's basically more nice and polite, and she's constantly trying to hit her brother and basically knock some sense into him for being stupid. I mean, can you blame her? Plus, the scene that the two actresses played when Palom and Porom sacrificed themselves, I mean, it made the scene more powerful and made me a bit emotional.
Palom! Porom!
Cecil! We'll miss you! It was almost like we gained an older brother.
What's gotten into you two?
We won't let you all die like this! Tella, look after Cecil for us! Together! Now! Right!
Whenever there's a Final Fantasy game, there always has to be a character named Sid, and luckily for you, Final Fantasy IV Sid is here. And in this game, he is played by John Snyder. Okay, so when I was looking at his profile pics on Google or something like that, I was like, really? This is John Snyder? I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, the guy looks kind of young for a voice actor. I mean, like, I don't know how old the dude is, and I don't want to judge or anything, but I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that this guy is the voice of Sid, who is basically an old man with a rough voice. He does a pretty okay job with Sid, so I think that's all I have to say. I mean, not much to talk about other than just the scenes, but his portrayal as Sid is pretty alright.
Bombs away! Try stopping this, Lopez! My once-in-a-lifetime unaided flight!
The last permanent member of the team and the ninja of the game, Edge, is played by Taliesin Jaffe. Okay, so Taliesin Jaffe, never really heard of this voice actor, but looking at his profile pic, he looks pretty cool for a voice actor. As for his portrayal of Edge, he does a really good job playing his character as he does with some of his other characters, because when looking at some of his roles, I was pretty impressed. I mean, he had some roles in Fairy Tail and One Piece, and I think he had a cameo in Dragon Ball Z Battle of the Gods. But did you know that this is this guy who plays frickin' Blanca and Adon from Street Fighter? Yeah, I could not believe this myself either. Anyways, getting back to his portrayal as Edge, he does a really good job with Edge, like playing into his like overconfidence or his like coolness and stuff, and also playing into his emotional scene when Edge had to kill his parents because they were turned into monsters, and Rubicante was calling him weak for all that stuff, and Edge's like rage he played into. It was all perfect. I think this is a pretty good Edge voice.
You think our rage a weakness? Then let me show you!
Okay, so for this next one, we got 3 characters sharing the same voice actor. The Lunarian Fusoya, the Fiend of Water, Cagnazzo, and the final boss of the game, Zeromus, are all played by Michael McConoughy. Okay, so Michael McConoughy's voice as all 3 of these characters. As Fusoya, he does a pretty good job. I mean, Fusoya is just your basic wise old man who's basically also trying to do the right thing and stuff and give characters advice and all that stuff. Like, it's all pretty simple, and his portrayal as Fusoya is just good. That's all I have to say for this one. As for his portrayal with Cagnazzo, I'm pretty impressed. Like, the Cagnazzo voice is pretty neat. But anyways, also as Zeromus, well, I can't really say much about Zeromus since there isn't too many lines that he's been given. He's been only given like one bit of decent lines, like basically after Zemus was defeated and Zeromus like starts to show up and stuff. Like, not much to say about this one, but I think Michael plays a neat job with Zeromus. But I think he does Fusoya the best out of all 3 of these characters.
There will always be evil in men's hearts. We all of us bear a touch of darkness, just as surely as we bear light, much as with the twin sets of crystals. The drowned king, Cagnazzo, deposed, but the wicked are not wont to fall alone. In life, I was terrible. In death, steeped in terror, greater still. Drink all the blood it did for you in hell. No suffering, no death. My hate will not be such until it has consumed all else. You shall be next. Come, pass into this darkness I have brought.
The Fiend of Earth, Scarmiglione, is played by Damian Clark. Okay, I'm not too familiar with Damian Clark's roles or something like that, or nor have I heard of the actor, but his role as Scarmiglione is pretty decent. I mean, I can't give much input on this one because, like Barbariccia, Scarmiglione has been only given like 2 lines of dialogue in one cutscene, which is kind of sad, because I think this is a pretty okay voice for Scarmiglione. I mean, it's nothing too special, but it's still good regardless.
This will be your doom.
You again!
Unless you see this.
The main antagonist of the game and Cecil's older brother, Golbez, is portrayed by none other than Peter Beckman. Okay, so I'm not too familiar with Peter Beckman's voice or his roles, other than the fact that he played Zangief from the Street Fighter games, which is pretty cool. His role as Golbez has to be the best for me, since I think this is the best Golbez voice we've got so far, since he plays really good as Golbez. Like, I mean, his voice is more calm and collective, and I mean, it still sounds menacing at times too, because it does fit well with Golbez's voice for numerous reasons, because, I mean, even though he's a calm villain, like, it does fit well with the character, because Golbez is one of the first villains in the series to redeem himself after he's freed from the actual main villain's mind control and stuff. Plus, it also fits well because it gives you Darth Vader vibes, which fits Golbez's character as he is, like, based off of Darth Vader. And regardless, I think Peter Beckman is just the best Golbez voice, and the voice actor has also played Golbez in the Dissidia Final Fantasy series, which is the first time I heard Golbez's voice. I had to look back into the game because the voices sound a bit different, and I needed to make sure if it was the same voice actor playing the character, and yeah, it's the same voice. I mean, I wanted to make sure my ears weren't playing tricks on me.
After that, I took to the borderlands, where I could hide from others' eyes. Racked by guilt, ashamed to show my face. I would not think to ask for your forgiveness now, but I am glad that you survived. What better a pawn could Zemus have possibly chosen than this? You're naive, Cecil. Even knowing betrayal and despair, you would depend on the whims of others?
Edward's loved one and Tella's daughter, Anna, is played by Zara Little. Okay, so her voice as Anna is pretty good. Though I'm just a little bit mixed on how I feel about the voice because, well, I mean, let's face it, well, her voice as Anna, well, she did a really good job with the death scene when Anna was on the brink of death after sacrificing herself to save Edward, and the way she played that scene was perfect. However, the scene when she's basically trying to bring up Edward's confidence and tell him to be brave and never give up, I mean, I don't know, I mean, the scene itself is okay, but the voice, I don't know, seems a little bit off, but regardless, I think this is a pretty okay decision for picking this actor as the voice of the character.
Anna!
Edward, I can be with you but for this moment. The spirit calls me onward to become a part of it again.
Don't leave me, Anna!
Edward, you must be brave. Golbez cannot be allowed to have the crystals. You gave your love to me once. Now share it with all the world.
Cecil and Golbez's father, Cluya, is played by Ralph Lister. Alright, so Ralph Lister as Cluya. Now, we don't get much about Cluya other than just the backstory of how he was Cecil and Golbez's father, trying to protect his people, and he sacrificed himself and passed away. I mean, It's a very emotional scene, even though it's not voiced, but we do hear Cluya's voice in the Mount Ordeal scene when Cecil becomes a paladin, and needless to say, looking at the character himself and the actor, it's pretty okay. It's pretty good, not gonna lie. I mean, don't have too much input on it because, I mean, this is like the only scene we get of Cluya, which is perfectly fine. Not gonna complain about anything about that. Though, it would have been cool if we also got a scene with Cluya and Cecil and Golbez's mother, Cecilia, and if she had a voice, like, it would be a pretty cool scene, but anyways, regardless, I'm just rambling about all this stuff. Moving on.
Your virtue is proven. I will instill you now with hallowed light, formed of my very soul. May it be your strength, though it be the last of mine. My son, you must stop Golbez.
Okay, so for the final voice of the list and the final character on the list, the Macidian Elder is played by William Fredrick Knight. Man, some of these actors have some, well, strange names. I mean, not saying that they're bad, but yeah, but anyways, regardless of the actors' names and stuff, as for how this person plays the Macidian Elder, it's a decent job. I mean, can't really say much about the Macidian Elder. I mean, he only had like, a few scenes of dialogue with his voice, and, well, that's all I gotta say.
Indeed. Now's the time we pray for them. No, for the entire world. Hallam, Olam, we must see that all the prayers made here reach Cecil and his friends on the moon.
And that's all I have to say, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching this video. Do you like the voice actors of this game? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments down below. And let me know in the comments down below who was your favorite voice actor in this video. And did you enjoy their role in this game? And which role did you like the best, of course? And who's your favorite Final Fantasy IV character? So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out, everyone.